journal that Dawn and I made in a previous Dawn and Julia Create entirely out of junk. So Dawn has asked us to use this journal today, but the twist is we are only to use blue. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is to choose what page we are going to craft on. Now I want a fairly plain page because of the idea that I've got. I'm going to keep it really simple. So I've gone for this one here that's got the little tab and is just a plain white card on the back. And I am going to use the Butterfly Kisses stamp set. So I've pulled out a blue ink to make sure that everything stays blue. And we are just going to stamp that down. So give yourself a moment, give it time to rest on the paper before lifting it, and that will ensure a good impression. And I'm also going to use the sentiment from this stamp set as well, which says, like a butterfly, her wings unfolded. Now I have this idea that I just want to use a ballpoint pen. I have been watching various artists like Jess Carp that managed to create the most beautiful portraits just using a ballpoint pen. Now, I've never done this technique before, which is why I sort of just etched out a little bit on the side. I'm not completely sure of what I'm doing. I have to say I did enjoy this process, and it will be something that I practice more. So to start off with, I just kind of went in with my shadow area. So I just took the line work that was there in the stamp, the bits that I knew that would be a shadow area, I've just really thickened that line. And then I'm working in the body of the hair. Now I started on the hair because I'm used to doing strokes within hair. So when I colour with my alcohol markers or my pencils, I normally do a flicking motion to create a little bit of texture. So because that was something I was slightly more familiar with, I started with that first and then moved on to other areas of the image. Wasn't quite sure what I was doing with the flower here and the leaves. I ended up just sort of colouring it solidly. I think I'm going to have to in future look at cross-hatching techniques a lot more to be able to perfect it. But it's just something that I want to try. It's something that is a little bit different. I have decided that I have become very comfortable in what I do with crafting. I kind of stick to what I know, I stick to the colours I know, I stick to the mediums that I know, and that can kill your creativity. I think I've kind of, because I do it for work and because I have to produce a certain level of stuff, I've not given myself time for experimentation and learning and allowing myself, you know, to learn more on the creative journey, which is why I'm wanting to sort of pull out new techniques. And the Dawn and Julia Create is fab for this. Quite often when there's been things that we really want to do, we end up sort of popping it into a Dawn and Julia Create. Now I reckon that Dawn's going to end up doing a 2-page spread, because her journal somehow, even though we followed the same brief, her journal seems to have twice as many pages in it. Not quite sure how that happened, but hey ho. So I reckon she'll go for a 2-page spread, and I reckon she's going to pull out a whole load of blue stuff. I reckon she's going to have paints and pens and texture pastes and go full-blown mixed media. I've gone completely opposite and just want to sort of use the one the one element. And I was really lucky, this pen sort of really matches the ink on the stamp really well. Now I did struggle with the face, I'm not going to lie, and that is where future practice will go in. I think, as I said, I should have used cross-hatching techniques, but what I tried to do was sort of really lightly colour it with a really light pressure and then just sort of cross-hatch the cheek, and I really didn't like how that turned out. But I rectify it a little bit later on. This is me trying. I thought, like, if I just deepen the shadows round the face, you know, like on the hairlines and stuff, that might help to push the face to the back a little bit, to push it in the background. But in the end, what I decided to do was just to grab a little bit of gesso. Your gesso is semi-transparent, so you're still going to see what's underneath, especially if you go for a nice light layer. So I just sort of put a light layer over that. It knocked it back a little bit, but it's definitely given me something to work on in future. So we will be seeing more videos as I experiment with a ballpoint pen. I really want to do it because it's a cheap supply. Anyone can get a ballpoint pen for pennies, and sometimes when it comes to crafting we feel that we need all the stuff in order to create beautiful things, but you know, we're working on a piece of packaging and we're using a ballpoint pen. that's basic supplies, and hopefully we create something beautiful with it as well. So it just shows you can use whatever you've got. Whatever you've got, you can use it to be creative. Now, because the page was a little bit bigger than the stamp, I just felt it was a little bit lost. So my intention was just to do the ballpoint drawing, but I felt like it needed something to sort of fill the page. So I took this heart stencil and some blue distress ink and popped that through. And now I have got a blue watercolour paint, and I'm just going to add a few splatters just to sort of, again, add a little bit more extra detail and just make it look a little bit more arty. So I kind of gently put that across the page. I'm almost done. So the next thing I do is the doodly border, because it's me. I can't live without a doodly border. So yeah, I'm just popping that around. And then the next thing I decided to do was just to give it a bit of extra depth. So I've pulled out the Aqua Souffle because it's in blue tones and just added it to the little butterfly and to the floral. So I've loved this page. I hope you like it too. Please do pop across and see what the lovely Dawn has. As I said, I suspect it's going to be a mixed media wonder, so I can't wait to see that. So please do check that out. We will both be back for another challenge in a fortnight's time. As yet, I don't know what it is because I need to pick it, so I better get on and think of something. So we will be back soon with that. But in the meantime, you may enjoy checking out this playlist with lots more art journal inspiration.